Welcome back, folks. Me, Phil Terrell. You're watching part 15 of the Final Fantasy VIII Let's Play. So we just got done beating Metal Gear Norg, and we're going to have to talk to Sid about exactly what happened down there. If we talk to this student right here, he'll mention if we know about the CC group, which is a card group that if you played enough people in the garden, you'll establish some street cred to where they'll want to start challenging you, but you got to actually find them. So challenge about 10 to 15 people and win. And starting about after the section in Fisherman's Horizon, you'll be able to challenge them. You might be able to challenge them before, but you won't be able to challenge all of them until after Fisherman Horizon, which is the next town we're going to have to visit. Well, we are going to visit by the power of plot. You see there, I'm trying to challenge more people to get more street cred in the garden. So if we talk to Dr. Kodawaki, she's going to kind of stop us to talk to the headmaster, because he's having a bit of a moment. He's having a bit of a breakdown of sorts after the whole Norg fiasco, and you find out that, yeah, I'm done crying, and Dr. Kodawaki's like, okay, just take it easy. And before that, we gotta challenge her to some more card games. So we're gonna go ahead and beat her. Ooh, we got Armor Dodo, which is good because we'll get a Dino Bone from there, and we'll get some more Quakes. Now, honestly, I could have already gotten all the Dino Bones in the world by just refining my the Last Brothers card, the one that doesn't give the Adamantine. I think that's Sacred, I think, because Minotaur gives the Adamantines. But that would completely break the game, even more than what I already did, and I don't know why I didn't do it. But anyways, I digress. So we go and talk to Sid, and there's a number of things we can talk about. Some of them are making a report. Actually, all of them are making a report, the real meaning Seed, talking about his wife Adea, and then Norg, and then what to do next. So if you try to make a report with Sid, he can guess what happened, so we don't need to do that. And Squall's probably upset because he really wants to make that report. Now, Squall is asking about Seed, what the meaning of Seed is, and Sid is like, do you know something about Seed? And he just says that Seed is destroyed to defeat the sorceress, and the missions around the world are only training for the final battle against the sorceress, which that's basically what Seed, I'll say Seed is about. So that's a bit interesting. It's interesting that he's like, well, do you know anything more about Seed? When Squall mentions it, kind of interesting. Again, if you played this game all the way through, you find out that it's very intriguing how Sid interacts with Squall in hindsight. If you ask about Adea, well, he just basically lays the groundwork that, well, Adea laid the groundwork for Garden Seed, and all this was basically her idea from the beginning. And you find out at the end of the game how this became her idea. And if you ask about Norg, he mentions that, well, Norg was a member of the Shumi tribe up north, and he became interested in funding Garden when Sid approached him about the Garden Seed, and, well, he had the brilliant idea of, hey, how about we send these seeds on random missions around the world to bring more capital into the garden. And along the way, the whole ideal about Garden and Seed, keep intermixing Seed and Sid, but got covered up by all the money and all the, capital that got brought in. So interesting. And then one more thing about the CC group, we won't actually start battling them until part 17, I believe. So don't worry about that. I haven't forgotten about it. We will do that because I really want to get them to join us at the end of the game. A card group does join us at the end of the game. So if she's going to find us, and she's going to want to know where Headmaster Sid is, and we'll tell her. And she gives us a little bit of bad news, because on the second floor of the garden, you can see that a ship is approaching, and it could be the evil Gabaldia army, or even worse, it could be Adea. So we don't know. So we're going to go and see, and, well, let's find out. And we get a lot of interesting dialogue in this part. We don't really battle at all in this, unless you count the card games. Just a lot of dialogue. So let's go ahead and go to the second floor balcony, which is beyond the classroom. So we're going to go there. So hop, skip, hop, skip, hop, skip. And again, what's going to happen here, actually, no, I'll wait till after the scene. So interesting thing about all of this is who this ship actually belongs to. And he's like, a Gabaldian ship. how do you know it's a Goboldian ship? You don't see any Goboldian like regalia or insignias anywhere. Squall's like, no, you're not going to come on this. And they even dropped the bomb that, hey, it's Adea's ship, and they're Adea's seeds, which is interesting because a seed was Adea's idea. And Squall's like, no, you shall not pass. And they're like, please, we come in peace. And Squall's like, okay, fine. They put my sword away. So Sid made his way up here. He's like, I'm right here. And Sid doesn't seem at all phased about this, which is very interesting. And they drop a name, Ellone. And apparently Sid knows who Ellone is, and he even agrees that, yeah, it's a bit dangerous for her to be on board Garden. And Squall is tasked with finding Ellone. So Sid's like, Squall? And Squall, ever this dutiful soldier, is like, yes, sir, we'll go find her, sir. So, here's the interesting tidbit here. I feel there was a bit of a missed opportunity here, but that just might be me. So we're going to go find Ellone, but we only know Ellone as a young girl. We don't know who Ellone is right now. Now, I feel that because Renoa absolutely does not know what Ellone even looks like, she probably should travel with Squall. That's my opinion. Because she does not know who Ellone looks like, or what Ellone looks like as a girl. So she's just going to ask random people, pretty much like I am, about, where's Ellone? Are you Ellone? Hey, are you Ellone? So we're going to do some good old asking around with some card games to find out where Ellone is. Well, to go back to my point, I feel that the scene when you find Ellone, if Renoa was with Squall, I think the scene could have went a little bit more interesting. And by that, I mean, Squall kind of has a small little breakdown, and Renoa could have probably had grounded Squall a little bit, probably not completely. Meanwhile, Renoa could have asked Ellone a few questions and kind of judge how important or how much this has affected Squall, and kind of probably would provide a little bit more interesting dialogue. But that's just me. Maybe that's just me trying to make things fit together better, or just wishful thinking. But it's a pretty interesting thought to have. But we're gonna go ahead and play this dude against cards because he thinks he's better than us. So we're gonna go ahead and beat him. And if you talk to the girl with the pigtails here, we'll get one more flag on the Zell Love side quest. So that's awesome. So we'll get to listen to a little bit more of the conversation. So pretty nice. So let's go ahead and go back here, and we find out that Ellone was actually the girl that interacted with Squall at the very beginning of the game after he got his scar from Cypher. So the familiar girl is going to confirm that she's Ellone, and then Squall's like, the Ellone? You're the Ellone? And she's like, yep. And here we go. He asks about Laguna, and then she even says that she loves her Uncle Laguna. And so here's where Squall starts to kind of lose it a little bit. He's like, what is this that we're experiencing and all this? And, you know, Ellone's a bit sorry about everything that's happened, but she tells him that it's all about the past. And Squall finally realizes that, hey, we are viewing the past. I mean, I've already kind of spilled the beans that they're viewing the past, but I don't think up until this point it's been talked about that it's been the past. And Ellone wants to try to find some way to change the past, no matter how remote or small the possibility is. And Ellone is the one that is responsible for taking us to this dream world of sorts. And Squall, again, is being hit with too much information that he can't process. He doesn't have enough. He has enough problems as is. He doesn't want to be involved because, again, he doesn't like to be in other people's business or solve the problems for him. And you can see here he's kind of having a moment. He can't even. He has to sit down to process all this. And even when Shu approaches Squall, he's kind of unresponsive. Ellone is actually going to answer for Squall, saying that she is Ellone. And one of the last things that Ellone says to Squall is that you are my only hope, Obi-Wan Kenobi. I mean, you're my only hope, Squall. And for some reason that I feel those last words kind of trigger a reflection of sorts for Squall. And people give Squall crap for this, but I look at it as he's questioning or he's reflecting on his faulty logic he's carried with him throughout his whole life. On one hand, he doesn't want to depend on anyone or have anyone depend on him, but at the same time, he knows he's been doing this. He's been dependent and having people depend on him this whole time, whether he knows it or not, such as when he was a kid, like he says here, or also as a young adult, because he's going to admit to being the first one to have relied on people. So, you know, what Ellone says kind of triggers a challenge of sorts on his worldview and his logic, and I like that. I like that he's questioning his worldview because he's part of a mercenary team, and the emphasis is on the keyword team. He has to learn to trust and have others trust him to be part of his team. Otherwise, you know, jeopardizes his life and the lives of his teammates. And he says he has all the skills to survive and he's not a child anymore, but he knows that's a lie. He doesn't know anything. He's confused, and that's what scares him. He doesn't want to depend on anyone, and he wants somebody to tell him that it'll be okay. And he says someone, so I'll end up depending on others after all. And, you know, Squall has to realize that, you know, he has to learn to lean and depend on others to be, you know, part of this elite seed mercenary group. And all this triggers a cutscene where it's a kid that wants his sister, but his sister's not around, and he tells his sister that, hey, he'll be okay. And so, yeah. And then Renault is here. And Renault is going to interrupt us from our beauty rest. And, well, she can tell that what happened with Ellone bothered Squall. And I feel like because of this scene right here, that's why I feel Renault should have been in there with Squall. But anyways, moving on from that. She wants just a walk, not a guided tour date. And I guess she really just wants to take Squall's mind off of everything that happened. And she says, you think too much. And this is probably why you're like this. You're very moody because you think too much. And she's like, I would be honored to have your company, your highness, in the hopes that you may get your mind off things. And so you can say this is stupid, or you can play around. I think if you say this is stupid, Renault gets mad and she leaves. I think I've only done that once, and that was like a long time ago. So let's go ahead and save our game. We go up out here, and we'll get a little bit of a scene where Sid gets the intercoms working again, and we find out that we are going to have a bit of an collision problem. So Sid is like, Sid, I will say Cypher, Squall, come up to the bridge. There's an emergency. And we get a little bit of a scene of a master fisherman here. And Garden's going to start banging up stuff as they approaches the master fisherman. And we will be introduced to one of my favorite places in Final Fantasy VIII, if only for the music. Really, it's mainly for the music, because there's not really a lot of stuff that happens here in F. Well, that's a lie. There's some important stuff that happens here in FH. So, because the master fisherman does not want to fall off that giant crane of sorts, he decides to run. And that's a very interesting place to go fish. In my opinion, you're fishing on this crane that's above the ocean or sea or whatever you want to call it, bay. So Sid's going to call us up to his office and we're going to answer the call. So he's going to give us orders to go to Fisherman Horizon and discuss what happened with the mayor and the locals. And then he's also telling the students, hey, don't go out under any circumstances. And even though Squall gets his orders, he's like, why does it got to be me? I'm basically the most antisocial person here. And Sid makes a mention here that, do you have something to tell me? And Squall's like, no. And he's like, Sid is not just a special task force. He wants them to see the world and broaden their world view, all that good stuff. And it's kind of interesting that Sid says he has high expectations here for Squall. It kind of gives the implication that he has something special planned for Squall. So it's very interesting to me, even back then, that Sid had these expectations placed on Squall as if he's expecting him to do something great in the future. Or maybe it's just because he has a gunblade and this is his first gunblade specialist on Seed. So let's go ahead and go talk to these people in Fisherman's Horizon and see what is up. So we're going to exit the same way we found those Adea seeds on the second floor. So let's go ahead and go up there. I'm just going to go ahead and waste a little bit of time talking to these people right here. Confident as always. Alright, so let's go ahead and play while I need to go take this important mission. But we're going to go ahead and also got a tri-face. That's one less curse spike I get. So let's go ahead and continue on, go through here. And I believe there's a kid right by the emergency exit. It's kind of interesting because this exit's going to come into play at the end, not the end of, well, yeah, the end of the second disc. I was going to say the end of the game, but the end of the second disc says, do not open. So I almost want to open it. I wonder if it is very important to the plot. So let's go ahead and go out here. And this is Fisherman Horizon. It's I want to say it's like a port town, but outside we'll be greeted by the welcome committee, and they say, hey, we don't tolerate belligerence and violence here. And Squall's like, yes, we understand. They're representatives of Garden. They come in peace, and so the other people are like, okay, cool. All right, welcome to Fisherman's Horizon. We call it FH. They tell us to go talk to the mayor in the middle of FH. And that's what we're going to do, but we're going to explore the town first and talk to some of the locals. They say that this is a heck of a mess, and Squall apologized and said they lost control of Garden and everything was inevitable. So they are deeply, deeply sorry. And they say, hey, that's okay. We like to fix stuff anyways and, kick back and enjoy your stay. Which gives the impression that, they'll probably help us. And if you talk to some of the locals here, they kind of will talk a little bit about Fisherman Horizon. Also, this guy says that, hey, they painted those patterns on the walls of the garden. And they say, we painted it a long time ago. And it says, those were the good old days. So, kind of interesting. If you don't talk to any of the locals here, you kind of miss a little bit of this background flavor text of, the game. And this FMV right here, it kind of gives you a scale of what FH really is. It looks like it's a hastily built together port town in the middle of, like, I don't even know, like maybe like an oil refinery or something like that. But the more I look at it, the more it looks like a Final Fantasy VIII version of Midgar, because the whole center you have these oil refinery stacks or smoke stacks or whatever they are. But it's interesting. It's like to me it looks like a Midgar in the Middle Sea, even though I don't know if that was intentional, but that's what it looks like to me. But we can go this way. It's not really, you don't really need to go this way. It's kind of hidden in a way. But if you talk to the master fisherman here, you can tell him that, hey, I'm sorry, it's our fault that we're responsible for this. And he acts like he's real chill about it. He's like, you damn near killed me, son. He's like, just kidding. Squall's not amused. But if you talk to him, he says that he can fish anywhere. He's not a master for nothing. He gives us a copy of the Occult Fan 3. And if you talk to him again, we can start up a little miniature side quest here that ends up with us getting a Mega Elixir if we want. And we get a little bit of information on him and the background of FH. And so I want to go ahead and do that. But it's a little bit of pain to get to him, especially in like the original PlayStation version. We didn't have this turbo mode to make you go faster. But yeah, it's FH, Fisherman's Horizon. I really love this theme. I don't know why. It's just very chill and relaxing. It's one of my favorite ones. And normally I'm more of a fan of like high intensity, energetic music. But this one, it's really chill. I really dig it. I really like it. And this guy right here, he name drops Estar, which we already know about Estar. I didn't catch what he said, but long story short, a lot of the people from Fisherman Horizon are actually from Estar. If we talk to this guy right here, he says, are you Seed by chance? And Squall answers, and he says, like, hey, y'all are mercenaries, like to fight and get money because they're fighting. He's like, well, none of my business. You live your life how you want. And Squall gets the impression that he sounds just like this guy, and he says, I guess I don't really sound very nice. So let's go ahead, and that's the way to the mayor, but I'm not going to go there. So let's go here. There's a regen draw point here. It's pretty good to have for some stats. I'll go ahead and give it to Renault because Renault has the highest magic stat here. And we can get regens really easily later in the game. It's not a super duper high priority spell, but it's nice to have. So I think it's one of the better spells for like HP or HP Spirit, or I thought there was like one more stat I missed, but it's a good mid-tier spell for that. So if we talk a little bit to here. I'm getting tongue tied. Basically, they name dropped Norg and said that, hey, he's from Shumi. He should come out of that cocoon pretty soon, or cocoon/egg. Which again, that's one of the last bits of information we'll get from the game about Norg. Now, this is the little, as the Master Fisherman says, the twerp who is his pupil. Now, if you talk to him a few times, he'll want to know how his master is doing, and we'll get some interesting scenes of him trashing the junk keeper shop, and one not so cool scene where he almost kills the junk keeper, which I don't want him to kill him because I'm going to need this junk keeper to upgrade Squall's weapon to the Lionheart. So do not take him out because I need him now. This one right here, again, this is the one that is not very cool. He's like, help me, I can't breathe. So Squall's gonna run, and it looks like he just like, Squall just runs and like just sticks his hands out, focus, breathe, man. But I just imagine he casted a spell to snip the line or whatever was around the gravekeeper. I don't know why I said gravekeeper, the shopkeeper. And it's very interesting. He had yellow text and a red text. And he's like, "You're dumbass." So you can go ahead and talk to the junk keeper now. There's one more scene to have, but that won't be until the very end of the FH. After the boss we fight here in FH. Because, spoiler alert, we got to fight some enemies and a boss here. But we got the Lionheart now, so Squall now has his ultimate weapon. And, yeah, Squall's going to be dishing out quite a lot of damage when it involves limit breaks, so that's pretty awesome. Now, over here I'm talking to them because I'm trying to get the last scene to play with them, but I'm going to remember that, hey, it's going to happen after the boss fight. Now, there's a few more scenes that we can, or a few more things we can do here before we go talk to the mayor. One of them, a couple of them is here in the inn. And for the longest time, because of how bad my TV was back in the day, I didn't see this lady in the back corner because the light was so bright. I guess because my brightness on my TV is up, or maybe the brightness was just broken. But you can talk to that TV, and it'll let you know about current events that are happening at FH, like how the garden just crashed into FH. There's an old issue of Timber Maniacs here, and so that's nice. And then there's another copy of Timber Maniacs here that we can get in FH, and we're going to go and get that. So nothing too important here. We will come back here a couple of times before we're done with FH. So you can talk to this person. He's just a bit drunk. He's like, I ain't drunk. So we'll go up here to this house. It doesn't look like we can go in there, but we can. And this is Grease Monkey's house, and there's a Moomba here that's going to glitch because of my visual mods. But Grease Monkey is going to be important to a side quest in Shumi Village, but there is another copy of Timber Maniacs here. Or Maniacs, yes. So, we talked to him a little bit, just to trigger a flag that we're going to need to know about. So, we're going to bear that in mind. Remember that he has a Moomba. That Moomba is the clue to talk to Grease Monkey if you want to finish a small side quest of sorts. And that's really it. There's nothing else to do in FH other than talk to the mayor. There is a haste draw point in the train station, and that's really it. There's really nothing else to do here at the moment. So you can talk and get some more text. But the more you look at FH, the more you realize that, hey, this is just a very hastily put together town about with people who are just really pacifists and all that. And it's interesting that these people are very happy with what they have, considering, you know, the whole world outside is a lot more modern and a lot more well put together, but these people are just very, very happy with what they have. It's very interesting. I just wish there was another like important story scene that forces us to come here and talk to the people of FH. We will come back here, but it's not implied that it's not really told directly that we came to FH for a very important arc in Final Fantasy VIII. It involves that giant bridge, but for a long time I didn't know that we came through FH until... Actually, no, that's a lie. That's a lie. Because you have to cross through FH a little bit with just Squall. I just realized that. I'm putting my foot in my mouth. But other than that, that one scene I'm talking about, this is really it. Once we leave FH, it's that one little scene. We never come back to FH, and it's a little bit of a sad thing. I really like this town, and I really do like the theme of FH. Now, we're gonna save and we're gonna go to the mayor now. The mayor's the mayor's house. I'm stumbling around my words a lot, but I want to go ahead and refine some magic out of my stuff that I've won from card games. Now, there is two big card players of interest in FH. One of them is outside the house, and then another one is inside the house. Actually, there's three things of interest. Those two, and then a draw point that's in the mayor's house. The guy that's outside that we're going to play cards against has our Ifrit card. It's actually going to be Martine, which is over to the right. You wouldn't know that you can go this way unless you just went this way. But I'm going to just challenge him to cards. And he's like, I confiscated all the cards from Golbaldi Garden before I left. And I just back out because I want to see if a roll will spread or a roll will get banished. In this case, a roll got spread, which is open, which is very nice. Now, he got fired from his job at Golbaldi Garden because of everything he did, but the people of FH lifted him up and helped him from his low point in life. And he said, hey, why don't you just start over? You know, we got your back. He's like, oh, I'm so ashamed. So he says we're in for a challenge because he confiscated all the cards from Golbaldia Garden students. So that might be part of the reason why he got canned, other than the fact he tried to assassinate Hideo with us. So we're going to go ahead and win Ifrit back. And that's not the only thing that Martine has. Martine also has level 6 and 7 boss cards. And this is where I spent a little bit of time grinding for cards in Triple Triad because I like some of the cards that he has. His best level 7 cards are, his best level 6 and 7 cards in my opinion are Crystal. It starts with a K. It's actually that bottom card, all the way, the one that refines into 10 holy stones. Krista, Ultima Weapon, Red Giant, and Tiamat. Ultima Weapon will refine in Ultima Stones, which is very nice. Red Giant, which refines into 5 Meteor Stones, I believe. Or is it 10? I think it's 5. Tiamat will refine into 10 Flare Stones. Those are some of the better cards you can play. And of course, if you can snag some good lower cards like Snow Lions, Abyss Worm, Armadodos, and anything that can give you Wizard Stones or mid-tier spells if you refine it, that would be awesome. But I played for about, I want to say 30 minutes or so, because again, it sounds like I'm doing that to prepare a lot, but really, I just like playing Triple Triad. This just happens to be a very good reward of sorts for playing a game I really like. So, we're going to go ahead and refine all these, and we're going to leave all my rare cards starting from Angelo. Now, Ultima Weapon and, well, I guess not Ultima Weapon, but Tiamat, if you ever get Flare Stones, you can refine those Flare Stones into flares with Ifrit's Fire Magic Refine, and that would be a good thing. That's a very good spell to have. It's very hard to get 100 flares through card games. There's a boss that if you're at high level, it's a very good spot to get flare from, so we'll use that boss to get some flares from. But if you can snag some flares, that's pretty awesome. And of course, Snow Lions give North Winds, which will refine to 20 Blizzagas. Armadodos, if you don't want to refine your sacred card, like how I didn't refine my sacred card, they're good to get Dino Bones from to get Quakes, so forth and so on. Tri-Faces, of course, you get Tri-Faces from him. That's awesome because that would help us a little bit in the realm of getting Shockwave Pulsar for Quistis. And what else? I feel like I'm forgetting another thing that we could be getting. Oh, and Cockatrice Pinions for Break, because Break again is a very good spell to have for our status attack slot to make people, people and monsters to petrify them to end not boss fights, but enemy encounters relatively quickly. Okay, and Thundagas, I really wouldn't put an emphasis on getting Dynamo Stones from Blitzes and Triple Triad, because we're about to get Quetzalcoatl's card right here, or Quetzalcoatl's, whichever. I don't know the pronunciation. I've always called it Quetzalcoatl, but we're about to get Quetzalcoatl's card, which will refine to 100 Dynamo Stones, which is well more than enough to give everyone 100 Thundagas, which we're going to be fighting a boss that's actually weak against Thunder Magic, so that will be very, very nice to have spell for everyone. I'm going to go ahead and give Vitality bonus to Zell, because Carbuncle just learned Vitality bonus for the Norg fight, I believe. So, just double check all my stuff, double check my Guardian Forces, and we should be good to go with, double check one more time. We should be pretty good to go. I don't think I want to shift around any of my abilities. Let me double check. Leviathan, again, you want to start learning Spirit plus 20 and all the Spirit plus abilities to get Spirit bonus, and then make a priority for Recover. So let's go ahead and go to the Mayor's house again. I jump cut it back to the save point. So we're going to run all the way back. We're going to go inside. Now, the other point of interest is an Ultima draw point here. And it's only going to be there once, because once you draw from it, it won't refill. So make sure you have your highest magic stat person draw from this draw point. But first, we got to have it as a very, very standoffish conversation with Mayor Dobe and his wife Flo, because they're going to be very interested in getting us out of their town. So he's not going to waste any time. And Squall's going to say they're going to leave as soon as they are able to get Garden to move. And he also mentions that, hey, we don't really know how to pilot the garden. We're in the process of understanding how everything works. And Dobe's like, hey, our technicians will help you and teach you how to move the garden. And Dobe understands that Squall can't make this decision by himself, so he lets him leave to go ask for permission. And Renoa decides to open her mouth and say, hey, why do y'all want us to leave so badly? And Dobe basically says, hey, they're a pacifist nation. They believe that military inclined people will bring more conflict into FH, and they don't want that. And, well, Squall's going to respect their decision and then just leave. And Squall's like, let's go back to Garden. So there is an Ultima draw point right here in front of this giant robot. So I'm going to have Renoa draw, and I think I get 9, which isn't too bad. If you talk to it, it moves its arms and head around a little bit. So we're going to challenge Dobe to a duel of cards. Want to play cards? Sure. After you said we're kind of warmongers in a way. But we're going to go ahead and fight. Now, Quetzalcoatl has strong numbers on its bottom slot and right slot. So if you put a cipher card in the top left, it'll force him to play Quetzalcoatl in a position where its numbers won't take cipher or any card that's in the top left corner. So just play defensively and you'll win, and then you'll get Quetzalcoatl's card. We'll refine it, and then we're going to start the process again at 100 Thundagas on all of my characters. So pretty awesome. So 100 Dynamo Stones. Boop. And we'll have an opportunity to get all of our rare cards back, believe it or not, at the very end of the game, if you're very concerned about having all the cards for yourself. So I'm going to go ahead and skip all my refinement to all my characters and just show me equipping Thundaga to Zell, to Squall, and Renoa. I believe I don't equip Thundaga to her. I don't think there's any stat that will be useful for Thundaga, because she's more of my magic and healer. But on that note, I'll catch you in the next part, folks, and we'll see who invades FH on the next part. Later, and bye.